Welcome from beautiful British Columbia. We are not staying in British Columbia, though. We are going to be traveling to the Cayman Islands, as you can see. My name is Petra. For those of you who do not know me, I'm the owner of Fly and Sea Dive Adventures, and this is our Traveling Thursday destination webinar on the Cayman Islands tonight. Before I go into that, I just wanted to take a little bit of a detour and go to our website with you. Because sometimes people have asked us, I can't find the registration link. How do I register for your webinars? So you go to flyandsea.com, and when you click on menu, you will see Dive Travel 101. And you go to that page as it comes up. There's a whole bunch of different resources. And there is oops, I passed it, I believe. Traveling Thursdays webinars. If you go in here, you will be able to see our upcoming schedule as well as past presentations. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you will automatically get notification once we've uploaded the edited version of today's webinar, which is thanks to Kevin Smith. Always really helpful way to come and revisit it or pass it on to someone that you are who missed it and who wants to see it as well. Again, welcome and thanks for joining us to get to the Cayman Islands with us today. We are joined by the Canadian Cayman Island Tourism Board, as well as Sunset House, one of our favorite resorts on Grand Cayman. Before we get into that, though, I would just like to give you a little bit of an overview of what we're doing tonight. So it's some introductions of our company for those of you who do not know. Then we'll learn some general information about the Cayman Islands, as well as some COVID updates. We'll learn about Sunset House specifically and the diving with Sunset Divers in and around Grand Cayman. And then what else is there to do on Grand Cayman? A little bit of an overview, which is mixed in at the beginning as well as at the end. And then we have a Q&A. We'll have a little bit of a draw tonight, and then also talk about next date. You can, as you have questions, type them into the chat box. We will answer them all at the end of the presentation. You will also need to stay in at the end of the presentation in order to be eligible for the draw. Fly and Sea Dive Adventures, that's our team, a picture of our team here. We have been in business for almost 25 years now, and dive travel is all that we do, combined with a little bit of adventure travel, depending on the destination. But that's all we do. We don't book Alaska cruises. So we're the expert in all things dive travel, really every dive destination in the world. Over 70 years between the six of us of combined experience. Normally, we say one of us is not in the office because we're out diving and traveling. Not so much right now. We represent over 40 destinations, 100 plus liveaboards and resorts, pretty much all major ones in the world. We're IATA appointed, which means that we can issue our own tickets and have control over that inventory as well. And making changes is a lot easier if we do it ourselves. And then we do group bookings. Several of you have traveled with groups with us, which are mostly organized through dive shops. And then as well, individual travel, if you want to go at a time that your dive shop isn't going to the place that you want to go to, we can organize that for you as well. That's the introduction from my end. And I'm going to hand it over to Tammy, who sits in Calgary tonight. Yes, she is. And Tammy is from the Canadian Cayman Island Tourism Board. And I will just let you take over. Here you go.
So good evening, everyone. My name is Tammy Hansel. I'm with the Cayman Islands Department of Tourism in the Canada office. So good evening and hello. And thank you to Irene and Petra at Fly and Sea here for having us on Traveling Thursdays. Happy to be here. And let's just share a bit about our destination with you. Let's start off with a COVID update, primarily because that's what's on everybody's mind at the moment. So the Cayman Islands government views this as what it is. It's a public health crisis. Health must always come first, and the economic response is important, but without healthy citizens and visitors, it's kind of irrelevant. We have always and will always prioritize the health and safety of our residents and visitors. Now, we took steps to close the borders early and are still in a phased border opening as of October. So while we appreciate that other destinations will need to open quickly, we will err on the side of caution and continually protect both our citizens and our visitors. The Cayman Islands tourism industry is comprised of many business categories that both directly and indirectly service our visitors, as you all know. Following collaboration with government partners, standards of practice have been developed to establish industry guidelines for sanitation. And for dive, this includes dive boat configuration, dive boat boarding process, valet service guidelines, onboard food and beverages, surface interval space, disembarking, scuba rental equipment, cleaning of the dive vessel, tank filling, marine head cleaning, shuttle transport, and of course your documentation. Now, Emma will update you a little bit later on how Sunset House is adhering to these sanitation guidelines. So, as I mentioned, the phased border opening from October 1. Persons wishing to travel inbound to Grand Cayman must first apply to the Travel Cayman portal. Inbound flights to the Cayman Islands are currently available for Caymanians, permanent residents, work permit holders, close family, property owners, and persons involved in the Global Citizens Concierge program. So, phased border opening, persons wishing to travel inbound to Grand Cayman must first apply to the Travel Cayman portal. Inbound flights to Cayman are currently available for Caymanians, permanent residents, work permit holders, close family, property owners, persons participating in the Global Citizens program. Now, there's a bit of flexibility here. If you've been to Cayman before or you want to go to Cayman, I would suggest just applying to the Travel Cayman portal. As I said, there's a bit of flexibility. Of course, you'd have to observe the quarantine period at this time because we haven't vaccinated the larger percentage of the population, which we're trying to achieve before we start talking about opening the borders. So there's a website here you can look at, but as of yet, no commercial flights. So moving on, let's talk about the Cayman Islands, a bit of an overview. I'm going to show you a video here. Nine things you might not expect of the Cayman Islands. And the first one is that we're not actually islands at all. We're part of an underwater mountain range called the Cayman Ridge that extends from Belize to Cuba. We are a British overseas territory, and that means we drive on the left. You can walk the entire 7-mile beach, but keep in mind it's actually only 5 3/4 miles long if you're counting your steps. We are the culinary capital of the Caribbean. We're home of the mudslide, and I've got that recipe if anybody does want it. Please reach out. You can experience underwater fairy dust, and what I mean by that is the phenomenon of bioluminescence can be found in the Cayman Islands in certain areas. We have a dive site for every day of the year, Dive 365, and we're home to some of the rarest species in the world, some pretty cool orchids and the blue iguana, just to mention a few. And we have about 197 people that live in Little Cayman, but about 2,000 iguanas. So that'll give you an idea of how tranquil and secluded Little Cayman is. So getting into the Cayman Islands. The first question I usually get is, where is the Cayman Islands? So we are situated in the Western Caribbean, 3 tiny islands south of Cuba, northwest of Jamaica. It's a 4-hour direct flight from Toronto. Now, these islands are surrounded by a very deep body of water called the Cayman Trench. This water is deep and unpredictable, so the only way between the islands is to fly. Drilling down for a closer look, you'll see the sister islands here on the right and Grand Cayman on your left. Now, the bulbous end of East End is more tranquil and secluded, whereas the concave area between West Bay and Georgetown, this is 7 Mile Beach, and the open body of water in the middle, this is where one would find Stingray City. All roads across Canada lead to the Cayman Islands. Easy same-day connections from most major gateways within Canada on Air Canada and WestJet. Direct service originates from Toronto. You can also get to the Cayman Islands via many U.S. carriers like Atlanta, Detroit, Boston, New York, Houston, Miami. There's plenty of options there to get. Up until March 2020, Air Canada provided year-round service to the Cayman Islands with up to 5 flights in the winter and 2 in the summer. WestJet provided 2 in the winter and 1 in the summer. We have a brand new airport. So Prince Charles reopened our airport in March of 2019. The terminal has tripled in size. We can now accommodate over 2 million passengers a year. We've got a new check-in, departure, arrival hall, food court, and plenty of duty-free and retail options. Inter-island travel. Getting to the sister islands, the national flag carrier of the Cayman Islands is Cayman Airways, and they offer domestic flights to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. So lots of connections, easy. Check the baggage policy before you fly. Now the Twin Otter flies to Little Cayman, and we have the Saab and the Jet that flies to Cayman Brac. I would suggest packing your bathing suit and your back computer and your carry-on. You can check all that out at CaymanAirways.com or check with Fly & See. They'll have all that information for you or have it included in the package. Airports in the sister islands. We have Sir Charles Connell International Airport in Cayman Brac. Now this Cayman Brac Airport services Grand Cayman and Little Cayman. At certain times of the year, Cayman Airways will have scheduled flights from Miami directly to Cayman Brac. The runway runs parallel to the shoreline, and there's plenty of taxi service available. Edward Bawden Airfield is just that, an airfield. It services Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac. The runway runs parallel to the shoreline, so very picturesque on takeoff and landing, and the shuttles will take you to your resort. Why do we do diving so well? The 3-island experience. So 365 dive sites, 26 to 29 degrees Celsius year-round water temperature, world-class dive operators and facilities, diving options for all skill levels and experience levels. You got amazing visibility, consistently voted one of the world's top dive destinations in the world. 3-island offering diverse dives, accessible shore dives and boat diving, wall diving, deep drop-offs, pristine reefs, exciting wildlife, wreck diving and underwater attractions, and convenient and affordable shore diving options. So one of the things we really treasure is that we respect our reefs, right? The Cayman Islands dive operators will never drop an anchor on a dive site. Mooring balls are always used. We never touch our coral or fish. Gloves are not allowed. We ask you to remain aware of your fins and other dive equipment, and to use reef-safe, friendly sunscreens, and to please keep our oceans clean. Little Cayman, you get about 190 residents, 60 dive sites. It is idyllic and tranquil. There are marine protected areas, high degree of biodiversity, world-class wall diving, as well as shallow 18-foot to drop-offs that reach over. You've got first world amenities and easily accessible from the US and Canada, high staff to guest ratio, and very uncrowded dive sites. This is what Little Cayman looks like with its 60-plus dive sites, replenishment zones, marine park zones. We've got Cayman Brac, about 2,000 residents, 65 dive sites known for outdoor adventure. Again, anchors are never dropped in our dive sites. You can dive the Captain Keith Tibbets, the Russian frigate. It was sunk in 1996. We've got wall dives and coral gardens, soft and hard coral. Growth is plentiful. Cayman Brac is named for its magnificent and rugged limestone block that rises along the east end of the island. And this is what Cayman Brac looks like with 65 dive sites, again, replenishment zones, marine park zones. Grand Cayman, you got about 60,000 residents, 240 dive sites, again, part of the underwater mountain range. The limestone formations give Cayman its amazing visibility. Spectacular Northwest Point diving. This is one of my personal favorites. On the south side, you're going to see things like fans and staghorn coral. East End has got a pretty different underwater topography from the rest of the island. It's more adventurous. The west side is pristine, diving along 7 Mile Beach, and of course, Stingray City in the North Sound. Pretty exciting dive in itself. This is what Grand Cayman looks like. It's environmental zones, replenishment zones, marine parks, and our 240 dive sites. So Dive 365, a different dive for every day of the year. This dive guide offers you a comprehensive guide to diving all 3 Cayman Islands. There's great insider tips from locals, a complete list of operators and services. It can be downloaded from our website, or if you wish to have a hard copy, just let Petra know and she'll pass it on to me. We'll get it out to you. It's kind of a celebration of our amazing diving in the Cayman Islands. So getting around the Cayman Islands, for a local experience, take a bus. Island-wide service, no official bus stops, get on anywhere, get off anywhere. It's a good way to see lesser-known parts of the island. You can identify the buses by the target-like decals with the district initials on the back. And like I said, get on anywhere, get off anywhere. You'd have the driver one stop. Monday to Saturday service and limited service on Sunday. We have a taxi service on island. Taxis are not metered. Fares are set by the government. You get a minimum journey. I would recommend downloading the CI Go app. It will calculate the fare before you get into the taxi. Make sure you're having a discussion about additional charges for multiple drop-offs, extra passengers, extra bags, that kind of thing. Plenty of ways to contact us. This is our website, visitcaymanislands.com. This phone number rings right here in my office. My email, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and this link, if you'd like to receive a consumer newsletter, simply go to our website, scroll down at the very bottom, there's a button where you can sign up for our newsletter. And that's it. At this point, I think the future of diving is looking good, and I'll pass that back to Petra.
That is a very cute picture. And yeah, the future generation absolutely would be fabulous if we get those kids to dive. Thank you, Tammy. I think that gives us a really good insight into the Cayman Islands as such. And you may have noticed that the Caymanians pronounce the name of the island different than we do here in North America. So I'm used to saying Cayman Islands and not Cayman. But once you've been there many times, I think that's how you talk. Before I pass this on to Emma at Sunset House, I want to give you a little bit of an introduction to Sunset House through a video that Emma has given us. There you are. That was an introduction to Sunset House. So, Emma, I'm going to have you share your screen, and then you can take it away. Thank you for joining us and enticing us a little bit more.
Okay, awesome. I just want to say thank you, Kim, who just made that little comment, the big wow, when she watched that video. So that was awesome. Thank you very much. So welcome to Sunset House. Welcome to Grand Cayman. I'm here in Grand Cayman in the Wild Republic of West Bay. My name is Emma. I'm the sales and marketing manager at Sunset House. I started off here in Cayman as a dive instructor and then moved into sales and marketing over the years I've been here. I've been in the Caribbean since 2006. I started in Turks and Caicos, moved to British Virgin Islands, but Grand Cayman is now very much home. I've been here since 2008 and been at Sunset House now, actually coming up in 4.5 years. I'm originally from Edinburgh, Scotland, where I do not dive because it's far too cold. Or in Canada either, because it's far too cold there. I'm very much a warm water diver now, so sorry about that. So Tammy did talk about getting to the Cayman Islands already. It was very easy to get here. It's not so much now, but it will come back. We just have our repatriation flights coming in at the moment, but you can see from this map that yes, we're serviced with flights from Toronto, but also lots of different hubs in the US as well. So while we don't have commercial flights coming in at the moment, they will return as and when our borders reopen. So Grand Cayman, some quick facts here. We are British Overseas Territory, so we are under British law. As Tammy said, we have 3 islands. The population overall is around about 62,000. However, it is less than that at the moment because obviously we had a big exodus during 2020. The capital is Georgetown, and you can see on the map here where Georgetown is situated, and then Sunset House is just about a mile south of the main town on the island. Our national symbol is the green sea turtle. We already mentioned that 7 Mile Beach is not 7 miles, but that's okay. Sounds good. We have 365 dive sites over the 3 islands, with most of them being on Grand Cayman. We have a tropical marine climate all year round, and we're surrounded by beautiful coral reef. So let's move on to Sunset House. After the Q&A, there will be a prize giveaway, and you need to pay attention to my presentation as it will come up as the question. That's all I will say right now. So Sunset House was started by Miss Hebe Connors. She was 8th generation Caymanian. It started in 1958, and it was really just an 8-room guest house, which is the picture on the right side with the blue roof. So very small. She ran it from her house, basically. Her son, Adrian, in 1972 started Sunset Divers, and that was after Bob Sotto took him under his wing, and Adrian went out and learned with Bob Sotto, who was one of the founding recreational divers in the Cayman Islands and really started off the recreation diving here in the islands. And at that time, that's when Sunset House became Grand Cayman's hotel for divers by divers. We have a very famous and popular outdoor tiki bar called My Bar. You can see the original My Bar there. It actually used to be called Mahogany Drop Off. I don't really know how it became My Bar. I think there was an argument about whose bar it actually was in the family. It's still owned and operated by the Briggs family, and Miss Hebe's granddaughters are now the general managers. Mr. Adrian is still very much involved as well. So very much of a family-run operation. We have many amenities at the hotel. As you can see, we are just a little bit south of Georgetown. You can walk in. We do offer a free shuttle in the afternoons to Georgetown and also to the nice beach that you saw in our video. That's, again, about 1.5 miles the other way from Georgetown. Something I will add in here that recently there is actually a new free Georgetown shuttle that's run by the government to move around Georgetown. We're hoping as well that they will add Sunset House and Smith's Cove onto that free shuttle when we start to see our tourists and visitors coming back. So I think when we open up again, you're going to see a lot more amenities coming on as well for tourism too. We have free bicycles. So if you're feeling a bit adventurous, you can take them. You can cycle up to 7 Mile Beach. You can cycle all the way up here to West Bay if you want. So you can really get around on the island on the bikes as well. We did redo our dive lockers recently. We upgraded our Wi-Fi throughout the building. We have a number of choices of rooms and some upgrades in progress, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. We have our ocean sea pool, which is basically a big cutout area that goes right into the ocean. So it's a great place to do a checkout dive or test your equipment before you head out on the boats or just onto the shore site. So we have easy access for shore diving. We have our ladders at one area, and then we have the sea pool in another as well. We have our lovely freshwater pool, waterfront yoga. You can see in the picture there if you fancy doing a bit of relaxation and yoga in between dives. We have laundry facilities, guest laundry, and also service washes. We have a library with PC if you wish. And then we just added some beautiful hammocks to our shaded areas just before lockdown. So they're still brand new to us because nobody really got to use them. So they'll be waiting for you all when you come back. So let's talk about our rooms. We're not a big hotel. We only have 30 rooms. We have 8 courtyards, which are the top right with the yellow color. And then we have 18 ocean view. You can see that one on the left that is looking out to the ocean. 2 ocean view suites, which is the picture across the bottom. And then 2 ocean view apartments as well. So the apartments are studio style. They have kitchen in them, dining area and sitting area. The suites are just slightly larger than a regular hotel room. They have a seating area, a large dining table. I always think the suites are great for people that travel with a lot of equipment or have camera equipment. You have a large area to spread all your camera stuff out instead of using the beds. They all have fridges in them. They all have coffee makers. The ocean view rooms and apartments and suites all have added microwave as well. The courtyard rooms don't have microwaves in them. We have been closed for a long time. Our bar and restaurant is open and the dive shop is open, obviously, for our residents. But the hotel has been closed actually since March 2020. However, it has given us a great opportunity to upgrade our rooms. And I'm very excited to show you these pictures because really I put a few of them out on our social media, but this is really the first opportunity to show you what we're doing. So this is one of our ocean view rooms. Stripped them, we redid the walls. We put in new furniture, there's new mattresses, new beds. We put in these extra long desks in here. The biggest thing, and the flooring. We've got new floor tiles as well, which actually go out onto the balconies and patios too. But the most exciting thing, and I'm sure some of you on here, hopefully some of you on here have stayed at Sunset House before, and we did used to have like the wall units for the air conditioning, which are obviously noisy. But you can see in this bottom middle picture, we've stripped all of these out and we have brand new split aircon. So we're very excited about that. We're kind of coming into the 21st century, which is awesome because we are an older hotel and the rooms, they do need upgrading. So that is what's being worked on right now. So this is a sample room with the new furniture. Right now, we're working through all the rooms with the flooring and then the flooring and the air conditioning upgrade, and then the furniture will follow on. So it's very exciting to see in the hotel, even though we haven't had our beautiful guests there for over a year. So Tammy did already show you this. We have the Dive 365 initiative that was set up by Department of Tourism. It's a different dive for each day of the year. And as I said, Grand Cayman has the majority of the dive sites, around about 240 to 260 dive sites. So we are considered one of the best dive destinations in the world. We are consistently voted by you guys as one of the top destinations, definitely for wall diving. We have basically the islands are the top of mountains. So that allows us this amazing wall system that goes around all the islands. So we have sort of 4 different areas. We have Northwest Point, we have the West Wall, we have the South, and also the East End. But depending on what the weather is doing, there's always usually somewhere to dive. So we can move the boats to different areas depending on which way the winds are coming. They are all mooring, so we don't anchor. The tops of the walls start around about 45 feet, and then some of them on the south side are a bit deeper at 70, and then you have the big drop off, which is going to thousands of feet. We have great visibility. We have no rivers or runoffs here. So really the only time we get a little bit of disturbed is when we have a storm coming through, but otherwise we have great visibility and definitely up to that 150 feet. And you can see that at Sunset House on our house reef as well. We don't really have like cave diving or anything like that, but we do have tunnels and swim throughs. You can see that up at Northwest Point and also on the south dive sites too. We have all the usual Caribbean critters that you want to see when you come on a diving vacation: eagle rays, turtles, tarpon, lots of jacks, shark. We don't have a lot of sharks, but we do have sharks. And I have to say, we're seeing a lot more of them right now as well. So you never know what you're going to see. I mean, people have seen whale sharks here. They've seen manta rays. It's just your luck. Those were taken by Lisa that works at Cafe Church, which I will add as well. So if you're coming to Grand Cayman, there's 2 must-see sites. I think Stingray City is obviously one of them. There are 2 areas that sometimes people get confused. We have Stingray City and Stingray Sandbar. Most of the dive companies will go to Stingray City, which is 12 feet deep. And we have you sit in the sand, and then we sort of wrangle the stingrays around you, and the dive master is feeding them. So it is controlled. We don't just willy-nilly give out the food. Otherwise, you're going to get a stingray kiss, which most people don't really want to have. But you never know. You might get 7 years good luck if you end up going home with one. But these are very large southern stingrays. They're used to visitors in this area. Is deemed a marine interaction zone. They're still very much in the wild, and it is very much a hit or a miss if they're there. They're not caged or anything that they're going to turn up and suddenly start performing, but it is a really cool experience to at least try once. The Stingray Sandbar, on the other hand, is an area that is 4 feet deep, and you go out on maybe the sort of more the snorkel boats, and you go out there and stand in the sand, and the stingrays are all around you. So they're very cool to, you can touch them and stroke them. I always feel that they're like a big portobello mushroom, or they feel like velvet, you know, they're very cool, but definitely a must-do dive. And we do go out there twice a week on a Tuesday and Thursday. And then the other one that I always say very must-do dive is the wreck of the Kittiwake. So when she was sunk back on January 5th, 2011, she became dive site 365 in the Department of Tourism initiative. She served as a submarine rescue vessel for the US Navy, and you can see there she was commissioned from 1946 to 1994. She's a really cool ship to be sunk here because she has so many ties to diving, because being a submarine rescue vessel, she has the original diving bell on her. She has 2 original hyperbaric chambers on her. She also took part when the Challenger disaster happened. She was actually there on site searching for the black box of the Challenger. So she has heaps of history. You can see on this picture, she is sitting on her side now. When she first went down, she sank straight up and down. And she was about 60 feet up to about 20 feet. And then we did have Tropical Storm Nate came through it. And I think, don't quote me, I think it was 2017. She shifted onto her side. She didn't fall right over, and she didn't fall over the wall. So that was a bonus. And actually now it's a completely different dive because she's on her side. So everything is like kind of off, and you're discovering just, you know, different things inside her as well since she moved. So she's a very exciting wreck to dive. She's an easy wreck to dive, and we offer it fully guided. So it's not like we're just letting you loose to go and explore the wreck. So you can see some pictures here of her before she sank. I was there on the day that it did sink. It was 3 hours of extreme boredom until the last 5 minutes where she just went down. It was pretty spectacular to watch. We also have some other wrecks, the Oro Verde and the Doc Paulson. And then the wreck of the Nicholson, which are the top 2 photos there. The wreck of the Nicholson is actually at Sunset House. It's a small landing craft that was sunk there purposely. She sits out in about 65 feet in the sand just before our main wall drop-off. She's super colorful, so much coral on her, amazing for macro life. And because you're out on the sand flat as well, you're going to see turtles, you're going to see eagle rays swimming around her as well. So very cool wreck that's accessible from shore. And the Oro Verde and the Doc Paulson are also on the west side. Again, 2 super wrecks to explore, and we visit them as well on our morning 2-tank boat trips. We also have super reef and shore diving. So Grand Cayman has many different areas that you can shore dive, and I've named a few of them there, including obviously our own one at Sunset House. And we have, you know, Eden Rock is just down the road. Turtle Reef is up in West Bay, as is Cobalt Coast and Lighthouse Point as well. So very accessible, very reasonable. You know, you can rent a tank for like $15 US, and your weights for like $5. So for $20, you can go for a shore dive. So you don't have to pay the higher fee to go out on the boats. You're going to see just as much from shore as well. You can see here that we have our beautiful Mermaid, which is at Sunset House. And you can also see things like the Guardian of the Sea, which is up at Lighthouse Point. So really at sunset, we have a mini wall going on right in front of the resort, a large sand patch, and then we have the main wall drop off. So most of the dive sites, you can see the mini wall, so shallow, suitable for all levels. And then you can also go out and do your deep dive as well. So Sunset Divers is on site at Sunset House. We're a 5-star PADI dive center, but we're also multi-agency as well. We have great experienced crew when they all come back to visit. We do still have 5 here with us that are working and taking locals diving. And we do daily 2-tank boat trips. Every morning we go out and do a wall dive and then a reef dive. As I said, we go out to Stingray City twice a week and also do the wreck of the Kittiwake twice a week. More often than not, we depart right from the resort. We have our dock there, the boats come in and we load you up. But we also do departures from the north side as well, which takes you out onto the north wall too. So we just drive you to where the boat is for our north side trips. We also reintroduced our free tank safari. We always try and run that north so that you're doing possibly 2 wall dives and a reef dive, or a wall dive, a reef dive, and maybe the last dive at Stingray City. So it's kind of an all-day trip, and we put lunch on board, and it's usually a lot of fun, and people certainly enjoy the fact that they can get out there all day. I touched on the Mermaid. She's now 21 years old. She turned 20 in 2020. She's sunk in around about 60 feet of water. She comes up to about 40 feet. She was put there to kind of take the pressure off the reef. And you can see her hair at the back is covered in coral. And she's probably the most photographed mermaid in the world. And certainly a lot of people go down there and do the mermaid pose. And we always like you to share that picture on our social media as well. Sunset House, actually, probably we still have the most newest dive boats on the island. The 2 catamarans that you see there, we had one delivered December 2018 and the other one came December 2019. They were custom built for ourselves, so they were designed by our management team here at Sunset House, and we needed the catamarans with the outboard. They're faster, they're sturdier, they're certainly help in the rough water when we have it, and they hold a lot of divers as well. They have an oversized camera table in there. They're great new boats. Tammy can attest to that because she has been out on them with me, and they're pretty fast, so it's pretty cool. So when we leave Sunset House, we can get up to Northwest Point in like 15 minutes, which is great, whereas our older boats were taking 20-25 minutes. So it's super. Not too many people have got to enjoy them yet, but they're here and they're waiting for you all to come and visit. The other boat that we have up in the picture there, that's also a new boat to Sunset House and Sunset Divers. She's a large V-hull, Ocean Spirit. That's our north boat. So she sits over in Harbour House Marina. And that's the one we use for Stingray City, North Wall dives, and also the free tank safari. So we have full training at Sunset Divers. As I said, we're multi-agency. We're predominantly PADI, but we do have SSI and RAID instructors on staff. We offer full range of courses from try dives, discover scuba, all the way up to assistant instructor if you wanted to. And all our staff are instructors. We also have, which is quite unique as well, our own coral nursery right out front on our dive site. And with that, we offer coral conservation courses in partnership with Cayman Eco Divers and their Reef Foundation. So when you're on the dive, if you're just going for a fun dive offshore, you can see the coral nursery. We have about 5 trees there growing staghorn coral. We use them to outplant on the reef as well. So there's about 4 or 5 of them around the island, one on the Brack and one on Little Cayman as well. So with that, we do offer coral conservation courses with like Discover ones, or right up to the PADI specialty course, which is over 2 days. And then we can also talk to you about the coral spawning and how eco divers survey the reef to see the growth. What they've actually found now is that when we have the spawning events, they're spawning from the trees. And so the spawn is spreading all the way up and down our reef area, not just outside Sunset House, but all the way up to Don Foster's and Eden Rock, and then to the south as well. And we can see the new coral stanchions growing, and that's what he is surveying to see how much new coral growth that we're getting in the stretch, which is super. I did the reef renewal course quite recently, and I certainly learned a lot. It's certainly something I would recommend when you come down. So are we hungry? So at Sunset House, we do have My Bar right on the water. That's our Tiki Bar. And we also have Sea Harvest Restaurant as well, which is the green building in the picture there. We're open daily, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast is served in the restaurant each day, and we always include breakfast in our room and dive packages. And then the bar opens around about 10:30, 11, and stays open right through for lunch and dinner. What a lot of people don't know about Sunset, we have an amazing Indian menu. Our chefs are from India, and it's very, very popular. I have to say that's what's keeping us going here in Cayman, because our residents love it, and we do a huge sit-in and takeaway of our Indian food, which is awesome. But we also have a full international menu as well as snack menu, dinner menu, and of course we have that amazing view to enjoy your cocktails on. And as Tammy said earlier, you know, Cayman Islands, we have amazing mudslides, and the one at Sunset House is very famous as well. If you follow us on Instagram, you'll see I usually post a mudslide at some point of the month or so, because if you can't go diving, you may as well sit in the bar and have a mudslide and enjoy yourself. We also are very lucky to have Kathy Church Photo Center on site. Kathy is in the Women's Scuba Diving Hall of Fame. She has a large store on site for retail and also rental, and they do classes, and they also do their fun Photo Fest event every year, where it's cameras, photos, lots of stuff going on. So we're very lucky to have her on site too. So some of you might travel with non-divers. Obviously, Grand Cayman, being the bigger island, has a lot more things to do in your surface interval, or if you're a non-diver, I've listed some of them here. There's a lot of history on the island, Pedro Castle being one of them, old style plantation house where you can go and learn about the history of the island. It's where our constitution was first announced and written. We have Cayman Spirits Company, which has 7 Fathoms rum, which is aged at depth. They sink it in barrels. We can't tell you where it is because you might go and find it. It's a big secret. But they have amazing rum tour. And then up here in West Bay, we have Hell, the Turtle Center. We have beautiful Barker's National Park, which is right on my doorstep, amazing to explore. One of our newer attractions is Crystal Caves. You can see the picture there. That was basically on private land, and the families opened up all these caves and made them accessible. And they take you on a walking tour of the caves, but you're also learning about the flora and fauna of the Cayman Islands as you're walking around. We have Botanical Gardens. I was just there on Saturday, looking awesome. And that's our national flower there, the banana orchid, which was not flowering when I was there, unfortunately. But if you go at the right time of year, you can see them. We also have Rum Point, Starfish Beach, obviously the famous 7 Mile Beach, and I touched on Barker's there as well. We hope that you will come and visit us when you can, and obviously you can contact Fly and Sea Dive Adventures for more information, but we do have an offer going for 2021 or 2022. Obviously, if you book with Petra, we're going to throw in this extra credit to spend, $100 at the dive shop and $50 food and beverage credit at the bar or restaurant on any new booking for later this year or 2022. There's a sample price in there, but all our packages come with breakfast, airport transfers, 5 days, however many days of diving you want to do. We also get unlimited shore diving as well on our house reef on the same days that you're boat diving. We throw in a welcome drink, welcome gift, and tax and services included in that as well. So in Cayman, we are known for our Cayman kind. We're friendly people, rich cultural heritage, cosmopolitan style. We have amazing natural beauty on the island. Always a warm welcome at Sunset House, and we're definitely all Cayman kind there. So just some reasons why to visit. You have your unlimited shore diving with our dive packages, world famous My Bar for amazing sunsets, and the mudslides. I should add that in there. We're very centrally located to explore the island. As I said, we're very close to Georgetown. We have concierge service at our front desk that can help you with tours. We still have the newest dive boats on the island. We will have new, spacious, comfortable rooms, and you can basically dive 24/7 if you want to. And that's all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emma. That was very inviting, and I'm pretty sure that many of us are going, okay, when can I go? Obviously, the Cayman Islands at this point are still closed, but dream it now, dive it later. And many of us are dreaming of being able to get back to the Cayman Islands soon. Let's do the Q&A. I'm going to turn the mic over to Irene. She's been monitoring the chat. And if you have any other questions that have not yet been asked, then please type them in the chat, and either Emma or Tammy will answer them, assuming that they can. So Irene, take it away.
Our first question is from Dave, asking about shore dives. Can you go by yourself?
There's no solo diving in the Cayman Islands, and certainly there's no solo diving at Sunset House. There is plenty of like-minded people at the resort that you can buddy with, or we also have our dive staff there that you can book a guided dive if you want. But unfortunately, there's no solo diving.
Kim is asking, have the Caymans experienced coral bleaching?
They have in the past, but it's come back, and we haven't seen any for quite some time now. No, we've been good. The coral's good.
Sergey is asking, do you accommodate side mount divers, and what's the extra tank cost for the side mount?
We can accommodate side mount. That's no problem. There's not usually any extra cost because depending on how you're diving, if you're diving with 2 tanks, then you can probably use the same 2 tanks on the next dive. And because we have unlimited shore diving, there's not really any extra charge. There would be an extra charge if you wanted to dive using nitrox. Otherwise, yes, we can accommodate.
Okay. Kim is asking, did you say there is now a charge for the shore dives?
If you're just coming, say you want to go and shore dive down at Don Foster's or Eden Rock, yes, you'll pay them to go and shore dive. If you're staying at Sunset House and you're on a dive and room package and you have boat dives in your package, then your shore diving is complimentary. If you are on a non-diver package and you just want to go for a random shore dive, then you would pay for your tank and weights. Steve
is asking where the price that you had posted, is that Canadian or US dollars?
Sorry, it's US dollars. I always forget to put that in there.
Don't we wish it was in Canadian?
You caught me out. I did one. No, it's US, sorry.
Steve is asking, are there currents?
So Cayman is blessed that we don't have strong currents, but it's not like Cozumel where you're in doing drift dives. Occasionally we'll get it, and most of the time the boat captains will move to a different site if they think it's strong, but it's rare.
And the biggest question, any ideas or projections on when the islands will be open again?
Me or you, Tammy?
Get your crystal ball out.
Well, I'm just going to start, but I just came from a tourism update today, and it was a private sector one, and we are still projecting the same. We don't have a confirmed date. The last one from government was we are trying to reach 80% of our population to be vaccinated. And at that point, they will consider opening the borders. Unfortunately, they cannot give us a confirmed date of when we're going to reach that 80% because the 80% includes children in our population. So we need a child's vaccine to be approved. We are in a very, very lucky situation here. We do have cases on the island, but they are all in quarantine because they're caught with the system that we have in place. We are living in a COVID-free bubble. We are moving about as normal. We are not social distancing. We do not have to wear masks. The only cap we have is 1,000 people limit on gatherings. So we are very, very lucky in that situation. It just sucks for tourism, unfortunately. Sorry, Irene.
That's okay. Thank you. Mike is asking, how is the night diving on the 3 islands?
This picture here I took, actually. That's one of my pictures. So that's night diving out front of Sunset House, which is awesome, of course. So you have the opportunity here where you can do the shore dive in the day and see the topography, and then explore it at night where you have a lot more different critters coming out. Great area here to see octopus and slipper lobster. I've never night dived on the Brack. I've night dived in Little. Same. I mean, people night dive all the time. And also with our unlimited shore diving, that includes night diving. So, you can have dinner and then go for a night dive if you want. You can get up early and do a dawn dive if you want. So you have plenty of opportunity to night dive while you're staying at Sunset.
So does that mean then night dives on both the house reef and boat diving?
So the house reef ones would be included in your unlimited package. Occasionally we'll run the boat for a night dive, and that would be an additional charge.
Question, any bars with live music at night?
Absolutely. There's always music and music going on at some point somewhere on the island. Emma, you can maybe actually answer this better than I can. I mean, given the last 18 months.
Yeah, obviously we have a lot of local musicians on the island, and I think we see a lot of them doing a lot more gigs right now because obviously everyone needs to work and earn an income. So there's certainly lots going on right now. And there always is. Different restaurants have different bands playing certain nights, and then the bars as well have live gigs. And again, we always get the information at the hotel, so we can always tell you and recommend where to go. But there's some great musicians on the island for sure.
Two very similar questions. If you had to choose one island, which one would you recommend? Well, we know which one Emma would choose.
I will.
And the second part of that would be if you could only visit two of the three, which would you recommend?
Tammy, you can have that one too.
That's a tough question. I mean, they all offer something a little bit different. Don't make the mistake of painting them all with the same brush because they do offer something different. I mean, I have a personal favorite, which I probably shouldn't, but I like Little Cayman, but I spent more time in Cayman Brack, and I really love that too. But Grand Cayman offers something special and interesting as well. So all depending on what your likes and desires are, you're not going to go wrong with any selection.
You just have to come 3 times. That's as simple as that.
Yeah.
I've also visited all 3. Obviously, Grand Cayman is my home, and I love it. I've only been to the Brack once, and I fell in love with it. It's completely different. The topography is amazing. And because they have the bluff, they have amazing rock climbing. So if you're into that, you can have, enjoy the ocean, but also try the rock climbing as well. Little, great diving, and otherwise you just sit in a hammock and drink a cocktail.
Right, yeah. Hang out with the iguanas.
And what is the best month to dive?
Every month.
Oh, good.
It's all good, honestly. Our busiest time on the island is at high season, which is our winter months. And that's when most of our visitors come. However, it's still winter in the Caribbean. So we do still have we can get rough water. If you're looking for it to be completely really calm, then the summer months, are better, but it's very hot.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you move into September, October, you're getting into peak hurricane season, which, touch wood, we haven't had anything for years, but the conditions are absolutely gorgeous then as well. So really, we are really lucky that you can dive all year round.
The last question, and I guess this is really probably for all of us, under normal conditions, is last minute bookings realistic? And what would we consider to be a last minute booking?
If we have space at Sunset House and Fly and Sea Dive Adventures can get it organized, yes, just come, please. And you can get on when we have our commercial flights back. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Anything can be done in terms of flights if they're operational. And the flights are at all different price levels. So last minute is possible, but it's also dependent upon what you're prepared to pay for your air tickets.
And Wayne, I would say also that very much depends on the season. So for April, May, June is probably easier than for February or Christmas. So that very much depends. But we typically, a true last minute is a week before. But if you're asking us a month before, that also already means that we will drop everything to get you over there as quickly as we can. November is a time that I would say most Canadians want to love to go. What we're saying, and these are not normal conditions right now, obviously, but what we're saying right now is we're bracing ourselves for pent-up demand and last-minute bookings, because people will wait to know that my flight's operational, yes, I can go. And so that is likely going to be what's going to be happening in the near future. I have one more question here that came to me directly, Emma. Are dives to the North Wall included in the dive packages offered by Sunset Divers?
Yeah, as long as the weather conditions are good, then we go north. We always try and at least go north once or twice a week. But again, it depends on the conditions, because the north side can be rougher than out front on the west or northwest point. But yes,
right.
Then the only time it's extra to go out on the North Wall is if you wanted to do the 3-tank safari. But otherwise, a regular 2-tank boat is a 2-tank boat.
Perfect. I do want to say, before we get to our draw, we're doing our draw differently tonight than we normally do. So Emma already indicated that you will need to be able to answer a question that she's going to ask us. And you need to be prepared to type the answer into the chat. So for those of you who are sitting miles away from your screen or keyboard right now, get closer to that. And the prize that we are giving away from Sunset House and the Cayman Island Tourism Board is a Cayman Divers gift package that includes reef safe sunscreen. It includes a quick dry towel. It includes a t-shirt from Sunset House as well as from the Cayman Islands. And it's going to be mailed directly to your house. So you need to provide us with your address if we don't have it. And Emma?
The question is, what year was Sunset House founded, please? Oh.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
That was quick. Well,
you guys really paid attention. I am very impressed.
that's awesome.
Wow.
Okay, Irene, did you get who the first person was who answered the... I need to scroll up here.
Marilyn Clayton.
Awesome. Marilyn and Terry Clayton. We haven't booked you for many, many years. Fabulous. So I will just put a plug in for our next presentation, which is going to be in 2 weeks, which we will then travel to the Philippines. We haven't done a webinar on the Philippines before. April 22nd, 5 p.m. Pacific time, featuring Atlantis Dive Resorts. There's 2 resorts in the Philippines and their liveaboard. Registration will open a week prior, and we hope that you will join us again. As I said, this video is being recorded and posted on our YouTube channel and our website in the next, probably early next week. And then you can rewatch it or share it with somebody else. But thank you very much for joining us tonight. And we hope to see you in 2 weeks. Thanks again, Emma and Tammy, for joining us and your time. We much appreciate you and love working with you. Thank you.
Guys, it was great to see you all.
All right. Good night, everyone.